Few days ago, I posted in my Telegram community and YouTube community that I have resigned from my PSU job. A lot of you were curious of this decision, and few of you wanted to understand what was the reason that I actually quit my PSU job and have opted for an MBA at this point of time in my career. So I thought of making a small shortcast on this because many of you are familiar with different exams that I have appeared in. Most of them have resulted into not being so successful. But I just thought I'll give a brief overview in terms of the chronology of my professional development so far, which will be helpful for few of you because I see many of you are still in the preparation cycle. So a lot of learnings are there which I think I can share with you. But before diving into the main part of the video, I'll just give you small context about my professional life because I'll not speak a lot about my personal life, and very honestly this video would only give you around 70% of the context, but I think that would be enough to make inferences and judgments for people who are actually watching this video. So I'm a pass out from one of the Indian Institute of Technologies, and I'm not someone from the core branch. So my branch is quite unconventional. So I passed out in 2018, and thereafter, approximately 2 years, I worked in one of the MNCs where I was exposed to very fast processes and a lot of analytics. I was posted in Maharashtra at that point of time. Then I decided to quit that place so that I can appear in for an examination to get into the PSU which I'm in. But again, then COVID happened, and because of that, ultimately I joined after a gap of 1.5 years. However, in that gap period, I still continued working in a remote job, which was a consultant profile in marketing. At that point of time, it was in one of the edtech startups where I actually took the experience. So effectively, there isn't any gap in my resume, but the experience are not is not synchronized. So earlier it was totally different MNC, and then edtech is was in no way related to that in terms of the work that both companies were doing. But of course, a lot of the concepts and learnings which I had in MNC, I was able to straight away implement in that startup and yield some good results. Post that, I moved into my current role, where I have been, you know, working since around 4 years for now. So in total, you can see I've been continuously employed. There aren't any significant gaps in my employment. Maybe 1 or 2 months is there because of that, switching period and that transition phase. Basically, it's just that gap. So this is all about my professional experience so far. So when I was studying in the college, I was pretty clear that I will go for civil services exam. But in 2018, because of certain conditions, I had to take up that job. When I was working in that job, it was like typical Monday to Friday 9 to 5 type job. So I used to work on that job. I used to come back. I used to, try to catch up on everything which I had read in during my final years. You have a very good alumni network in IITs, and the reason of that is because you develop some intense friendships when you are in the college. Because of that, when you are in the final year of your college, you are quite involved in parties and going out. So of course that took a because of that, I was not able to focus 100% on my preparation. So I was studying for civil services, but I was pretty much sure that 2018 wasn't the attempt which I was going to do, because I just had a cursory view of the syllabus. I did not do in-depth study for UPSC at that point of time. So that was the overall thought process at that point of time, that okay, I'll from here I'll go to Delhi, maybe 1 or 2 years of preparation, and then I'll get through civil service. So this was the basic mindset at that point of time. But unfortunately or fortunately, as fate has it today, I would say I took up a job in MNC in Pune because one of the reasons was I personally wanted to explore that corporate world, and I also thought there can be many things which I can inculcate into my personality because personally I'm an introvert person. I don't want, I don't like interacting a lot with the people socially. So I try to be with myself most of the time. I try to spend my time alone. So I thought of, getting out of comfort zone, taking a taste of that corporate setup. And anyway, if I did not like it, maybe after 1 year, once the purpose is served, I would have left that place. So this was the brief plan which I had at that point of time. I took up the job. I worked for almost 2 years over there. And then I moved on because I thought I needed more time to prepare for civil services. And there was an amazing opportunity in one of the PSUs, which is known for its work life balance, right? So I joined this PSU through one of the examinations, and that was the reason why I appeared in that examination by quitting the job. But again, like I previously said, because of COVID, the joining was delayed. So once I joined at this place, I continued my preparation of civil services. Meanwhile, I had already given two attempts in 2019, in 2020. These two attempts, first of all, 2019 attempt was a trial attempt, because most of the USC folk perhaps would understand that, you know, one attempt, usually people, they just skip trial attempt to see where they actually stand in the examination. So that was the mindset, and I just appeared like that. So of course I could not clear the prelims at that point of time. 2020 again, it was a transition phase for me, because I resigned one job and was kind of being onboarded for the another remote job. So okay, I said okay, I can apply this year as well. I appeared in the exam and I was quite close to clearing prelims, but I could not clear prelims that year as well. Fast forward to 2021. In 2021, I appeared for civil services again, and that was the year, I guess, civil services was initially, and that was the year it happened somewhere around September, if I remember correctly. So I appeared in that examination September, and again by 1 mark I was not able to clear prelims. So three consecutive prelims failures. Two, first was trial attempt, second was with good preparation, third was very intensive preparation. So it was quite heartbreaking that after so much of effort I was not even able to clear prelims at that point of time. 2021, I also appeared in RBI Grade B examination as again one of the trial attempts, because I just thought this is just me, this might be plan B for me if I do well in prelims. That year, however, I was not able to clear prelims by, I think, 0.25 marks. So that gave me confidence that okay, if I give certain efforts in this direction, I can get this job, because I think my thought process and aptitude is naturally synchronized according to this exams pattern. Plus, the things that I'm studying in UPSC could be leveraged directly in the answers of this exam. So that was the thought process of picking up RBI at that point of time as plan B. 2022, I appeared in UPSC, I cleared prelims and I cleared RBI prelims as well as the mains examination. So at that point of time, I was overwhelmed with the fact that I have to write UPSC mains. I had to give my interview of RBI. What happened in that interview, I have made a separate video about it, but the gist is I was not well prepared for the interview, because I was overconfident that because I have done well and thorough preparation of UPSC mains, I'll be able to handle most of the questions, expecting the interview to be UPSC type, but unfortunately it was not, and I was quite badly exposed in that interview. The details I have shared in the separate video. You can have a look in that video, which is of RBI Grade B 2022 interview experience. So I remember in the month of November, just before Diwali, or sorry, October, just before Diwali, the results were announced, and I was not selected in RB Grade B. So that was for the first time of all seeing all the failures in different examinations. That was a breaking point for me. I actually cried that day, because I had so much of expectations. I thought, okay, my interview did not go well, but still they'll consider me, considering the profile and all. So that was, of course, that was quite delusional of me to think like that. But these were the raw thoughts of me at that point of time, right? So that was a very heartbreaking moment for me at that point of time, because I just thought that it's the destiny, the things that are happening. Because prelims, okay, I prepared a little bit, but it was nothing to the level which how one should usually prepare for RBI. Mains, same thing. I was just I just had an overview of major areas, and then things worked. So I just thought interview will also work, but it did not work. So that was a major setback for me at that point of time. Still, I picked myself up. I was hoping to clear mains, but unfortunately, I was not able to clear mains because of less mark in the optionals. So that was another setback which I received that year. And then fast forward to 2023, I just thought of focusing only on one exam, which is RBI, because at that point of time, I thought it is high time for me to get a job and get settled in life, right? And that is why I only focused on RBI, and I actually worked very hard that year for RBI. Phase 1, phase 2 scored pretty well, but again the interview thing, it did not go well according to the plan, scored less, and then ultimately fell short of 7.5 marks in the final cutoff. In 2024, at that point of time, I thought I need to move on from this preparation cycle, because every year since 2022, I told to myself that okay, this is the last year of preparation cycle. No matter what happens, I'll get out of it. 2023 again, I said I'll get out of it. 2024 again, I was telling that I will get out of it. But at that point of time, I thought, is it the right thing for me to do? Because I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm consistently chasing UPSC, RBI, but again, I did not always question that why actually I wanted to do those things. At this point of time, if I see in the hindsight, I ponder over it, I can only think of few reasons. Like one of the thing was I was socially conditioned that way because I come from Bihar. So since childhood we are told that if you have to do a job, either be a you know DM, CM, or PM. So this is a very common saying in our side. So that created a natural attraction to UPSC civil services. So that was one of the reasons. The second reason was the peer group in which I was in the college. So most of the people were heavily inclined toward government job, and because of that, we only used to, you know, gel or discuss things related to administration, politics, economy in general. And because of that, I let go of many opportunities of actually using the resources of IITs. For example, I was not a lot involved with the clubs. I, at this point in time, if you ask me what would you have done different, perhaps I would have done some research work and published research papers, because that is something I always that I want to do at this point of time. But I could not do at that point of time. I did not concentrate a lot on my project. I also did not learn a lot about applying the theories in the industry setting. So these are some of the things which I feel that had I done it at that point of time, I would have been more complete and much better in terms of extracting value from my knowledge. Anyway, what happened had happened. So in 2024, I thought of trying something different. At that point of time, I saw some of my alumni who are actually in US or UK. They are in different countries, and I saw their career growth. How did they grow their careers? And I came to find out that okay, MBA, or you know they're taking the MBA route, in which they're taking GMAT. They're appearing into they're sending applications to B schools in foreign, good B schools in India, and then that is how they have propelled their careers. Since I have had significant experience at that point of time, so that is why CAT or IMS was not an ideal option for me at this point of time, and hence I decided to pursue GMAT. And parallelly, I also thought of leveraging my last attempt at RBI, and which is why I appeared in RBI 2024, because I thought, okay, one last attempt I'll give. If it is in my destiny, I'll get into it. If it is not, I'll just let it go. So this will be ultimately be the last attempt for me, which is what happened this year. Again, I was not able to clear mains this time. That is where my journey ended with RBI, right? Now, I appeared in GMAT around September, I think, September or October. No, it was September. So I appeared in GMAT in September. I started the process of applications which was very very expensive and overwhelming, because you know the cost of applying one application in one good business school internationally, it is 20,000, just the cost of application. And plus you need to send GMAT scores to them, you need to appear for IELTS exam, which is the English competency test. So that is another test which I appeared. So overall it's quite expensive process and very exhausting process, because every day you have to write essays to justify your goals and why you want to do MBA at this point of time. What have you done so far? How does your essay justify your application or strengthen your application? Why should you choose a particular B school, or why should the B school choose you into their cohort? What are your career aspirations? So there are a lot of questions, and it has to be very logical, and every decision should be evidence backed. So it's very unique to write those kind of essays where you have to justify what you have actually done so far. What have you done for the society in general? Anything which extraordinary that you have done, or anything which you have done outside your usual scope of work or purview of work. So these are the things that you are required to highlight in the application. And it's a very intensive process. You need to think a lot, you need to make a very a personalized story to convince the reader that you're suitable of securing a seat in that cohort. So I applied to many schools, right? I received a lot of rejections. Few shortlist which I received, I already mentioned in the group. But ultimately, I decided to join Indian School of Business because the timeline, I had to pay the fee earlier than before, even before getting confirmation from other international schools. Secondly, it is of course one of the top schools. So I always wanted to get into one of the top schools. So ISB was, you know, always one of the preferences, right? Third thing was ISB is in India, so I can be close to, you know, my parents, and there wouldn't be any additional pressure of getting settled into a different climate or different social setting. So that wouldn't be an additional pressure, because the curriculum and everything, interactions, they already add to the pressure in them in these institutes. So that way I thought this would be a good decision, and that is why I decided to stop this preparation cycle and then get into ISB to change my career path at this point of time. So today, if if I introspect and I think that what did I gain from all those years of rigorous work, reading things repeatedly, you know. So sometimes people ask me, what was the use of doing all those things? You could have decided that you want to do MBA well before, in like 2019, 2020, could have continued in your corporate job, and then you could have continued through MBA and then continue to grow. Well, apparently this reasoning appears strong, but if I dig deeper into it, I think there are a lot of things which I came to know about myself in that journey. Some of the things, like I never considered that I am disciplined enough to sit at one place for 6 hours, 5 hours, and continuously study same thing repeatedly again and again. I always thought I'm not someone who could do boring things, because honestly reading is one of the most boring things for me personally. Because okay, for the first time if you're reading, you get to know new things, so that is interesting. But when for the second time or third time when you are reading the same things from the point of view of mugging up those things, so it becomes very very boring. So that is one thing I can do with the self discipline. So that was one of the learning for me. Second learning was, no matter how complex the topic is, no matter how in depth the topic is, or how vast the topic is, I am always open to explore that topic, to try to understand the topic from my own intellect. And this is something which has actually helped me in my professional setting, when I'm dealing with new kind of files, when I'm dealing up with cases which are very old, or when I have to start some new project. So there are a lot of technical things that you are required to look into. You analyze from different parameters. So When you are analyzing a business, you cannot just restrict yourself to the finance aspect of it, but in our profession, you need to look into the social aspect of it, the environmental aspect of it, the ESG basically. So a lot of things that I learned over there, I was able to implement in my work. I able to, I was able to convey my work with more authenticity, more conviction on the basis of concept which I learned over there. I remember in ISB interview, one of the cases or spot questions which they gave me was related to you are having disagreement with your team, so how are you going to handle it? So I was supposed to write an instant essay on that. And I remember I quoted Aristotle in that essay and I gave the concept of golden mean, which is Aristotle's concept, right? To how to find the golden mean. So, so these are the things which I actually implemented, and ultimately, I don't know, perhaps interview was definitely one of the factors. It helped me save a lot of bucks in terms of scholarship which I received. So knowledge always pays off, and today I see a lot of people who are texting me that they are distraught by their results because they could not make cross the final line. I'll just say don't give up. If you think that this competition or government exams is your future and you can actually sustain the competition, definitely continue this preparation and give your best, because 5 years down the line you'll not be able to change your professional setup. If you're continuing that professional setup, now is the time to make attempts to make a change. There are always ways to utilize things that you have studied. You know, you can go and teach to someone for free, so those kind of things will give you very different level of satisfaction which money will not give you. So because I've told about money, so I'll just tell that at this point of time I'm getting 90,000 in hand. I have a quarter, company quarters, no electricity bill, conveyance, no conveyance, because the office is like walking distance, 10 minutes away from where I stay. So I literally have no expenses at this point of time, but still I feel that this is not what I want from my life. I want to move on, I want to explore new things, I want to explore new opportunities. I read so much during civil services and RBI preparation. I want to explore new places, new cultures. I want to meet people, interact with them. I want to go outside my comfort zone. I want to work in different industries. I want to see the things that I learned. I actually want to implement it and make some impact, not only for the business but for the society as a large. And for that, I think I need to move out of this comfort zone. I need to test myself in uncharted waters and see how I'm actually, whether or not I'm able to deliver in those stressful situations. And that is the reason why I have decided to move on from this stable PSU job. So this is all in this shortcast. I'll try to bring more shortcast on different topics in my life or in general what I feel, about current happenings in globally or in India. Do let me know whether you like this video or not, and comment if you need any help from my side.